Coming up, a recap of last week's Ipswich City Council meeting, highlighting some items on the agenda which may have flown under your radar. These included 2 mayoral minutes, 5 new committees established to replace the short-lived General Purposes Committee, a proposal for a stray cat reduction program which raised more questions than answers, and Council formally approved the previously flagged sale of CBD properties, including the admin and library, to West Moreton Health. It's Tuesday, August 4, 2020, and I'm Alan Roebuck. Welcome to Ipswich Today, which acknowledges the traditional custodians of the land on which it is produced and pays respects to elders past, present and emerging. This podcast is supported by Kinetics, people-powered web hosting trusted by Australian businesses since 1999. The meeting started with public participation, another change introduced by this new council. Jackie Rand spoke in favour of a community stray cat reduction program promoted by her organisation, the Australian Pet Welfare Foundation.
And I've spent 15 years doing research to understand the cause of the problem and what to do about it. I've published over 20 papers in international journals. So where are the cats coming from? Most are strays, fed by people who don't perceive they own them. They talk to them daily, and they say the cat helps them through the tough times. But most are not desexed, and they are the major source of cats and kittens being impounded. Banning feeding doesn't work, they just keep feeding. And these cat carers are very traumatised when their cats are trapped and killed. Ipswich has at least 10,000 cats being fed every day by people who don't perceive they own them. The other major source of cats and kittens are cats that people own but simply cannot afford to have them desexed. Last year, you impounded 1,800 cats, but that leaves 4,000 females producing 5 kittens a year. That's 20,000 kittens a year. Most die before they get to 6 months of age, but enough survive to ensure that you have the same number or more next year in Ipswich. Your management strategy doesn't protect wildlife, it damages people's lives and it costs you money. An AMO at the Banyule Council in Victoria told me she cried in a car as she held a young kitten she knew would be killed in the shelter because it was too expensive to bottle feed. She decided to stop this killing, and she started a program that has most of the elements that I propose for Ipswich. Banyule decreased their impoundments from 7 cats per 1,000 residents to 1.2 cats. You currently impound 9 cats per 1,000 residents. What would it mean for the city of Ipswich if you could achieve same or better results? Impoundments could decrease from 1,800 cats a year to 300 cats a year, and cat-related complaints would markedly decrease. Today, I'm asking you for your support from the Ipswich City Council to be part of this project. Let's stop pretending a Band-Aid works and work together on a solution that will solve these problems.
Head of Planning and Regulatory Services, Peter Tabulo, gave frank advice to the meeting.
So councils, as you'd be aware and appreciate, animal management is, as I said, a major function of my department and local government generally. It can be complex, confronting and highly emotive when it comes to dealing with the pets and animals of our community. From a management perspective, the challenges that we face are many, and often those challenges are a result of the strong bond between owner and animal, and officers being caught between that relationship. The Council has many management practices when dealing with these issues, and in the report that was presented to the committee, there was some of those aspects were outlined with respect to the cat issue. There is, however, no single strategy for success. It's a combination of actions that we must take. In my view, responsible ownership of animals is at the cornerstone of success when we're dealing with dog or cat management. From a dog perspective, we have registration. And that's proven to be the basis for ensuring that there is a link between the animal and the owner, and therefore ensuring or inferring some degree of responsibility when it comes to that relationship. As you are probably aware, when it comes to cat registration, that's been a vexed problem across local governments historically, and has proven to be, in my view, totally unsuccessful wherever it's been trialled. The registration of cats is just one of those problems that just doesn't work for a whole variety of reasons, and that can be a topic of another report or conversation at some stage. The program proposed in the reports that we're considering today are dealing with urban cats, not feral cats and not rural cats as such. And the distinction is made in the information that it's cats that are what's been called semi-owned. And it seems to me that the success attributed to the trials to date are a result of the program shifting the ownership of the animal from being semi-owned to someone taking greater or fuller responsibility for that animal. The success of the program and the willingness of the owners to be involved in the program may result simply as a fact of the cat having gone having gone through a neutering process, desexing process, or microchipping or the like, and that has picked up the cost of those tasks by someone else for the person who has semi-owned the animal to date, and therefore that person is now willing to take over greater ownership. There is no doubt merit in the program that's being proposed. However, it's my view that the officer's recommendation and the recommendation that was slightly altered by the committee is the right decision to be made at this time. There are, for example, a range of questions and aspects to the program that still need to be explored and clarified and presented back to determine what the full impact of the program would be. For example, what is the legal or contractual constraint on the handing over of the animal from us once we've held it for 3 days and it's not claimed by its rightful owner to a third party? We don't know that status yet. We still need to explore that. Who will be paying for the desexing program and the microchipping program and the like? How significant will the officer's role be in further education, transporting the traps, picking up the traps? Those types of things still need to be explored. And so, as I said, I firmly believe that if we have time to review those aspects, explore them a bit more, provide the details from the proponent, and then come back to you at a future point in time, we will be in a better position to be able to make a decision about whether this program should be supported going forward.
The Council voted to decline the request from the Australian Pet Welfare Foundation for a trial program in 2020-2021, but kept its options open to reconsider the proposal for the following year. Mayor Teresa Harding moved 2 mayoral minutes.
First, I wish to deal with the issue that keeps most of us up at night: the complex and uncertain future we face on fighting the war on waste. Today, before this council, I propose that we take unambiguous steps towards a new way of engaging with and working with our community, interest groups, key stakeholders and subject matter experts in the waste industry. The Ipswich City Council local government area receives approximately 58% of all waste disposed of in Queensland. We also receive 73% of all waste disposed of in South East Queensland. So we do need a step change. Today I'm proposing the establishment of a waste and mining working group and a separate industry representative group to support that. These groups will be established through an expression of interest process, and formal terms of reference and governance arrangements will be developed for each of them. As a matter of priority, I propose that we leverage the collective knowledge of the members of these groups to develop the Clean Slate White Paper. The purpose of this white paper is to make explicit the current challenges we face and the opportunities to remedy these, and in consultation with members to determine a preferred future state for waste and mining in Ipswich. With that, I move the following three recommendations. I move that Council establish a waste and mining working group to be chaired by the Mayor, with a standing invitation open to all councillors to participate as members. Secondly, establish a waste and mining industry representative group to be chaired by myself, with a standing invitation open to all councillors to participate as members. And three, delegate to the CEO the development and implementation of the terms of reference for the working and industry representative groups. As a mayoral motion, that is now moved and seconded. My second mayoral motion is relatively straightforward and deals with further transparency in procurement. I'm proposing that we publish basic contract details for all awarded contracts and procurements over $10,000, excluding GST, on our newly established Transparency and Integrity Hub. We have received excellent feedback for our efforts around transparency to date, and as I've said before, this is just the beginning of the journey. The change proposed today will bring our practices in line with the Queensland Government and the Federal Government policy, and will go one step further to ensuring this council is accountable to the people of Ipswich. The current legislation states that we only need to disclose contracts over $200,000. We'll be changing this to be $10,000 in line with state and federal government. It's really important that this council is accountable to the people of Ipswich. This change is especially important to ensuring we can be as open and transparent as possible about how we procure goods and services, and allows us to better monitor and evaluate the effectiveness of our new Buy Ipswich procurement policy. I move that Council accept the recommendation to amend our procurement policy as tabled in this report.
Both were supported by councillors. The long road to the relocation of Council's administration and library staff to the new sites under construction in Nicholas Street took another major step forward, with Council formally endorsing the sale of a parcel of properties in East, South, Limestone and Roderick Streets and Foot Lane to West Moreton Health. Head of Coordination and Performance, Sean Madigan, updated the meeting after the Mayor noted the contents of the reports contained confidential papers.
If we ask you a question, we need to go into that. We'll go into closed session.
Certainly.
Could you explain? One, I want to know. I don't like surprises, Mr. Madigan.
Yes.
Can you explain to me why this is a late matter, and so this has not been put out to the people of Ipswich for further discussion and
certainly.
notice?
So this report relates to the disposal of the current council administration assets to West Moreton Health. This is to tie in, obviously, with our Ipswich Central redevelopment, with us moving into the new administration building. The reason that this is late is that we have been in protracted negotiations with West Moreton Health over the acquisition and the contract details for these assets. We require a final council sign-off for this matter to be able to progress. The urgency around it, as to why it was a late item, is presented, is the urgency sits with the state government, effectively. So West Moreton Health, whilst they have board approval to enter into this contract, they actually require approval of Cabinet of the Queensland State Government. So it has to go via Treasury and then up through to Cabinet. Obviously, with the pending state election, you have caretaker provisions commencing within a couple of months from now, and their urgency is to get this sorted, obviously, before caretaker, so that they can be ready to progress with the construction, demolition and construction of the new hospital assets where we stand right now. So that is the urgency around the report.
Right. Okay. So, Councillor Madigan, if it was delayed a month for people to have more of an understanding, would that meet the Cabinet timetable, or would it be within caretaker?
It would potentially fall within caretaker. I think it commences in September, I think it is the caretaker. But we need to provide West Moreton Health the certainty that Council is accepting of the conditions of the contract in order for them to present that contract to Cabinet for sign-off.
And to have confirmation that if we do address this late report without a lot of without any community consultation, that it will definitely be slated for Cabinet for their approval before.
That is what we have been advised by West Moreton Health, that their minister is pushing for this. Obviously, they are under some pressure, as we know, in terms of the requirements for health services in the Ipswich West Moreton Health region, and they are really chomping at the bit to get into these assets and expand their footprint.
Now, 82 Limestone Street and 3 Foot Lane, that's down near the CWA building, is that the...
That's right, yeah. So
Limestone?
there's 2 car parks there. One that effectively backs onto the Civic Centre, and then the other car park there that fronts onto Limestone Street are the 2 car parks there that are paved. We occupy one of them and we lease out the other one.
Right.
At the moment to SEQ Water, I believe, some of those spots.
After the closed discussion, the meeting adopted the sale recommendations with the sale price undisclosed. And finally, Council voted to establish 5 new committees to replace the General Purposes Committee. Mayor Harding explained the reason behind this move.
And we're going to 5.1, which is the 2020 committee and council meetings. To date, we have been operating in council, I'll just go to the relevant page, having a full council meeting and having, 2 standing committees, one the General Purposes Committee, another the CBD redevelopment. And we'd like to break that up into different standing committees as a matter of practice within council.
One important change is that committee and council meetings will now move to a Thursday. You can check out the new meeting times and dates on Council's website. Ipswich Today is supported by Kinetics, people-powered web hosting trusted by Australian businesses since 1999. You can subscribe for free and share this podcast from your favourite app, including iHeartRadio, or play Ipswich Today from your smart speaker. Suggestions are welcome for future interviews and topics. Just go to the Ipswich Today website or Facebook page and leave a message. Music is supplied by Purple Planet Music. This is Alan Roebuck. Thanks for listening.